Heavy is the head that has to manage all of this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
We're now incentivized to buy what we already buy.
Fumbling through college had me building.
I also got some done on the other side.
And that was right around, I would say, May, maybe right before renewing the lease for this property.
Welcome to the channel, Martha.
Thank you for having me here.
I was gonna say I am getting up there in age, I'll tell you what.
Bills paid by other people, life was never this good. I had to step back, knowing that it's...
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk about underemployment. And this is a sweeping topic across all of the United States of America because so many people have been affected by this. And honestly, it is a terrifying situation to be in. The reason why it's so terrifying is because if you're not in your early 20s or in your teens and you've already started your career, you already started advancing in life, and then you've been kicked back down due to job losses of any kind, underemployment is going to hit you harder than most people because you already have life inflation, right? What is underemployment? Underemployment is, for example, someone who is used to being a manager. Maybe you work at a bank, maybe you work at a dental office, but now you're subject to a shift leader at Chipotle. Not saying that there's anything wrong with being a shift leader at Chipotle, however, the salary, the wages aren't going to equate. And so what happens if you're used to making, let's say, $30 an hour, and now you're making $18 an hour, but you have a child, you have a rent that you're paying, $1,800 a month, most likely. You have certain expenses that are going to continue to come that is costing you your ability to live a stress-free lifestyle. Now, studies show that most people will adapt to their situation and stress within 3 months or so. However, you shouldn't have to adapt to something that you worked hard to be rid of. So for example, you went to school, you got a degree in a specific field that you believe you should be able to get a job in. Now, obviously, the job market dictates whether you'll get that job or not. Your belief does not. But if you had a genuine expectation that was factually backed at a certain point, and then the tides have shifted on you due to inflation, due to high interest rates, so on and so forth, that were out of your control, then it's reasonable to be stressed out in this moment, right? And that underemployment has hit so many people because people are talking about, oh, the job market is bouncing back and it's so robust, but they don't talk about how many people have to work 2 jobs right now in order to do what they used to be able to do with just one. I'm not an advocate for someone having to work 2 jobs. I'm not an advocate for that. That means that one job does not pay the bills, or one job does not pay enough, right? Now, if you're working 2 jobs because maybe you want to go on a vacation and that second job is your vacation fund, that's different than needing a second income in order to sustain your actual life, right? Lifestyle and life is 2 different things. And so if the second job is simply to fund a lifestyle or maybe a new car purchase or something that is short term, that's different than having a second job because it is long term, something that is needed in order for you to physically and mentally be able to sustain yourself. And so that's where we find a lot of people right now, in underemployment, right? You were out of the job market, you searched, couldn't find anything. Guess what? Fast food is always hiring. Home health aid is always hiring. Certain service jobs will continue to hire. And so that's where a lot of people are ending up. And they're saying the job market is super robust, but honestly, it is not. So what can we do about the situation? Well, there is always jobs available, but in certain sectors, it might not be the industry that you were normally in. Back during the 2008 crash, what did people do? They went back to school. They learned different skills. They learned different trades. Now, the U.S. Army is recruiting in massive numbers. The military is recruiting in massive numbers. You have Border Patrol and Safety recruiting in massive numbers. These are government entity jobs. So although, yes, there are government jobs that are being cut, there are also government jobs that are hiring. Now, someone may say, I have a family to raise. I can't do things like that. What else is there for me to do outside of Uber, outside of, these in-between jobs, right? Well, that's when you're looking at different trade options. There are some trades that you will not have to go through a rigorous amount of school for. There's some licenses that you can get that you won't have to work extremely or study extremely hard for. For example, when I was in college, I did security. Now, there are certain security forms I can't get the words out of my mouth, but there's certain positions that you can take or contracts that you can take where the most money I made as a security officer was actually traveling security. Now, again, for someone with a family, you're going to want a flexible security job, and you'll typically find that in your home base where you don't have to travel too much. Now, I've worked for companies like Securitas. Actually, no, I haven't. I worked for United Universal at one point in time. And, they were very flexible with me as I went to school. That was when I was back in upstate New Albany. And they were very, very flexible. So I worked night shifts. I was able to get a decent schedule where I can mend that in with my classes. And so sometimes that's a great lifestyle where you can have a real flexible lifestyle. And another thing is, don't skip on flexibility in life, because there was a lot of times that after graduating college, I focused on the money so much that I forgot about work-life flexibility. My job dictated my hours, and I really was not in tune with how to get a second job or anything like that, because I was focused on the job at hand. And that was great. It benefited me tremendously. But if you have a lifestyle that you want to live, for example, I have a lot of friends, a lot of colleagues, a lot of business owners who don't work on Fridays. Now, if I was a business owner, would I work on Fridays? Yes. But I'm just saying, the flexibility of not having to, where you can not work a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, that is an amazing lifestyle to me. That is the type of life that I, strive to be a part of. And so, underemployment, if employment is at an all-time high, underemployment is also at an all-time high, and that's what a lot of people aren't speaking on. And so if you're in the job market right now hunting for a job, I definitely feel for you. Share this with somebody who needs it in order to find other options, and just spark their mind, spark their brain in order to start thinking clearly about what it is that is going to best suit them, and then start to realign what is going to work for you and how it can even benefit you to take on certain types of jobs, like security, for example. If you like this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. You know I post on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify for podcasters, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Peace.